very good world.
Representatives of the government and law enforcement also spoke. Among them were Mr. James Doolin Jr., Assistant Special Agent in charge at FBI offices in Philadelphia.
The outreach program was developed a long time ago, and the efforts of it were to strengthen our ties in the communities. A lot of folks, unfortunately, view us as law enforcement, and that's it. It's important that we, as the FBI, work in the communities, and we not only work in those communities, but we also live and play and raise our families. So the outreach program is an effort by the FBI to, through law enforcement-based programs, try to educate the community about what we are about and what we do in those communities. But it's also an opportunity for our agency to get to know our communities, because we do live there, we do work, we play, our children go to the schools. So it's important that we establish those strong bonds in those communities. And also as part of that, getting to know and working in those communities, is try to work with community groups and organizations like the Dialogue Center to try to identify areas where there are crime problems that we think we can apply some of our resources collectively with the community, with our law enforcement partners, to try to make the community a safer place to live.
In today's society, we live such hectic lives and moving all around, but you have such a mixture of nationalities, religions, and cultures in any state. I don't think there's too many cities or towns in the United States now where you don't have such a big mix of folks that are coming together. So it's important that there is dialogue there and breaking down any perceived barriers that might be out there and educating people about the different cultures. And, you know, the meal is one thing, what the center does, and the different things in the community is what, I mean, you look at the folks that came to this function tonight from a variety of backgrounds, both ethnic as well as religious backgrounds, and it really helps because it gets that message out that, hey, we may come from all different backgrounds and religions, but we're all working to the same thing, making this place a better place to live.
Keynote speaker, U.S. Representative Charlie Dent, brought the message of the night home.
And so we have to spend a great deal of our time talking to our friends and neighbors who may not have as deep an understanding, perhaps, as they should of the world in which we live. And that is something that I think that this group, that this Lehigh Dialogue Center will help us to educate people about each other and about the fact that there's much more that unites us as people than divides us, whether we call ourselves Christians or Jews or Muslims or Hindus. And I think that is just something that that's the real value in an organization like this one. And again, I also applaud the Jewish Christian Institute at Muhlenberg and others who are engaged in similar types of dialogue. It is extremely helpful to me, is even more important to people in our community who may not have access to some of the information that many of you have access to. I think this is extremely important for us to, again, recognize that we all are bonded by our common humanity, and that even though we may embrace different faiths and points of views on various issues, that these types of dialogues, I think, take us a long way in understanding each other and helping to facilitate and advance a more peaceful and just solutions to our problems, and certainly facilitates greater understanding among all people. So with that, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I enjoy the food, by the way. Something about Mediterranean food, Middle Eastern food, that is just first rate, and the baklava looks very good.
Here tonight you have people of many different faiths here together, again, celebrating the richness of each of our traditions and heritages and cultures and faiths. And I think that that's extraordinarily important to all of us.
Our society is becoming increasingly diverse, and as a world we're increasingly interconnected, so I think it's extremely important to start a dialogue, to maintain that dialogue.
As a Muslim, it's our duty to show the public what Muslims are. And we have to, part of the dialogue, we have to talk with everybody, and we have to introduce ourselves, because there is a whole lot of negativity about Islam and about Muslims. And it's our job as Muslims to dispel this negativity and convert that into positivity.
If you want to accomplish anything, you have to work as a group, and you have to make small the differences and make big the things you have in common. And it doesn't necessarily have to be religious. It can be cultural. It can be countries. It can be race. It can be many, many differences that people have to overcome and work on.
I'm Christian, and I have a lot of Christian friends, and